I welcome all of you to our webinar series. I am Girija, part of academic solution team at Vathna, and today we have one more guest speaker with us, Dr. Madhuri Dubey, and she will be talking about the today's topic and taking us through the today's webinar. I welcome her from all of us behalf. Before we deep dive into our today's topic and we start talking about it, I would like to talk about the Vathna first. So, as all of you know, Vathna is non-banking finance company who works in education field. Vathna provides the support to the schools in two ways. One, Vathna provide loans to the schools whenever they have any financial requirements, and we also provide academic support. And in this regard, we have been conducting webinars from last 2 years, and we have conducted webinars on various topics such as how to build inclusive school, why self-assessment is important for the school growth, what is 21st century school leadership. So these webinars are mainly cater on how we can upgrade the schools knowledge, school teachers and students knowledge and skills. And in this today's continuation, our topic is unveiling government's initiative in NEP and their impact on education. Before we start with our today's webinar, I would like to highlight two things here. First is we have been providing a participation certificate, and for that, at the end of the webinar, we'll be sharing a feedback form. So to get your participation certificate, please attend full webinar. Let's move ahead with our today's webinar and quickly go through the today's agenda. So we'll start with the introduction and session objective. Then we do the context setting, and then we'll talk about the what is NEP and why. And then we'll be talking about the key focus area in the NEP. And then we'll also talk about the Vathna programs, and we'll close our session with the feedback and Q&A. Let's move ahead. So before we move ahead with our today's topic, I would like to know about our participants profile, and for that I'm sharing a poll with all of you that you can see on your screen. So I have just started. You can see a poll on the screen. I would request to all of you to participate on that, so everybody will be aware who are with us today. Okay, as you can see, we have mostly school leaders with us. We have a school coordinator, teachers, and people from other parties as well. I welcome all of you to again to this webinar, and I hope this webinar will be fruitful for all of us. Let's move ahead and see today's objective for the webinar. So in the today's webinar, we will be focusing on two things. First, to understand NEP and its key focus area, and then we'll learn about government initiative and explore ways to implement them at the school level. So as you know, our today's topic is the NEP and its implication on the education. And it's been 2 years since this policy has been launched. Government come up with this new policy, and since then we all are wondering how this policy look like, especially on the implementation part. And as a school leader, we have a lot of questions how this policy will be implementing, what schools need, how school needs to prepare at their level, what resources we will need, and how schools start implementing this, and especially from last 2 years, what government has done in that to implement this, what kind of frameworks they have come up with, what the policies, any resources they have come up with, which can help the schools to start implementing it. And answering all these questions, today we have Dr. Madhuri Dubey with us, who will be taking us answering all these questions and taking us through the today's webinar. Before I welcome her and she start talking about today's topic, I would like to share a few things about her. So Dr. Madhuri Dubey is a founder and director of National Skill Network, and she has been running this organization from last 25 years, and this organization focus on training, curriculum design, technology-based learning and marketing. Before starting her own organization, she has worked with the MNCs and different government organization related vocational training, e-learning, digital marketing. She has also done PhD in educational policy and curriculum studies. And not only that, she has write a book as well. The name of the book as like effective e-learning design, development, and delivery. We are so glad to have her with us today. So I welcome her again from all of us behalf. Thank you, ma'am, taking us your time and joining us today. And now I request you to please take us through the today's webinar and share your insight and how we can do this NEP implementation. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Girija and team at Vartana for inviting me. Just one correction before I get started. Yeah, I am the founder director of National Skills Network, but it is only 8 years old. I think you said 25. My combined experience is about 27 years now, work experience in various fields in education and in corporate sector. Okay, thanks for that nice introduction. And I think I'll get started by, sharing sharing the slides. Yeah. Okay, so welcome once again, everyone. And I could see that most of you are into leading initiatives at school level. And also, I'm sure you would have heard about the policy. It is not like we are doing this for the first time. And while I'm speaking, if you wish to share any observations or any concerns or any queries, as Girija already mentioned, you can put them in the chat. We can take them at at one point somewhere, maybe after 15-20 minutes, and see. Okay, so I'll get started. And as I said, NEP 2020, as the name indicates, it was launched in 2020, but as with any policy, a policy doesn't get implemented overnight, nor is it a set of rules and regulations which can be enforced on anyone, nor is it something like a complete all India level document that can be just implemented in every district, every state. No, none of these happens with any education policy. As you may be knowing, the last policy was in 1986, which had another additional component added in 1992. So there has been a gap of 35 years. So that's how the policies are, revised, or new policies come up after decades. Which means, though this has been launched, now if you wonder if things have, if there is something like a momentum in implementation, what are people doing about it? How are schools responding? How are colleges responding? From that point of view, we, from my organization, National Skills Network, we have been consistently following up, trying to research, analyze, and see what are the main things that can be picked up and shared with a wider audience. And fortunately, through Vartana, I am able to do this with all of you. So I just kept this slide open so that, you get initiated into the kind of discussion we are going to have now, the kind of presentation. The present day concerns about schools, we all know. These are all the concerns. I hope you agree with these concerns. I'm assuming that you agree with these concerns. We are an exam-oriented system. We have a lot of high dropout rate, and we are not very planned. We are not very fast in technology adoption, even though with COVID, we did get chance to experiment how technology can be embedded. So there are all these issues which are there with our schools today. And at the same time, there is a big question mark about what is, is it like equality or equity? What we need is equity of, opportunity, or giving people that kind of a space or the kind of help they need to perform well from where they come. No, we can't assume that everybody is at the same level. So I think these are some ideas which the policy is looking at and also trying to address. Okay, now if you look at the kind of structure we have in our school system, we have a system where we believe in climbing up the ladder from secondary to higher secondary to college. And if somebody is not able to climb up this ladder for various reasons. One of them could be the need to work, the need to earn. It's there in many families. That becomes a necessity. Everybody, as we know, cannot go up to degree level or post graduation level. So what happens then if they discontinue? Are they dropouts? Do we call them dropouts? If they discontinue because of academic reasons, then what happens? Especially at the school level, we see a lot of them discontinuing because of financial reasons, because of social reasons, girls because of various socio-economic reasons, right? So, and then also people who are physically challenged, students who are physically challenged, as they grow, they might have some constraints. So, considering this entire thing, it looks like we haven't been able to give that kind of importance to such students till now. So this is one scenario. Please keep this in mind. And this is one of the recent collage we created with the headlines, which was there in the last week of December. So you see, over 29 lakh students could not clear 10th class exam in different states. This is all over the country. So in few states, it was, the numbers were very, very, concerning. People were really worried that, okay, what could be the reasons? So the reasons here given by the ministers was that factors such as not attending schools, difficulty in following the instruction in schools, lack of interest, a level of difficulty of question paper, quality of teachers, support from parents. There are a lot of reasons why this dropout kind of thing is happening. And the fact that we give a lot of importance to 10th class exams also shows that, this has probably become a bottleneck for some students for various reasons. Maybe they are doing very well till ninth, but when they come to 10th, there are some issues. So we don't know. Maybe, there are, you can go and check in your own schools. And probably if you check in your own school, and see what has been the statistics, have the students failed or have they scored low? I'm sure you do such studies. Please try to understand why this happens. Maybe you can let us know through the chat what is the percentage of 10th class students continuing with education after 10th in your schools. Are you tracking this? What do they do? Do they go and join 11th, 12th? Do they continue, or do they join, like I'm from Hyderabad, so in Telangana we have the junior college. So do they join junior college, or do they join ITI, which is a technical training institution, or do they go and work, or are they just whiling away their time? If you have ever collected such information, if there's any such numbers, please share in the chat. And what about the failed students? What do they do? So some of them will attempt again, write one or two papers in which they failed because there are provisions, and then they somehow pass. What about those who don't pass again? So in between this fail and pass, the life of a student is stuck at a very crucial time in their life. So now in this background, let us place the policy. So I'm not going to go into the policy document because that's a long document. It's some 70 pages. And I would request you to read it at your leisure. But the objective of this webinar is to familiarize you with few core areas that can be interesting and exciting for you to probe and study further and see the possibility of implementing in your schools. And most importantly, understand why we should be even discussing and implementing these things. So the 5 guiding pillars of the policy are access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. So right in the beginning, the policy says, okay, we are looking into this. Okay, this is the kind of focus we have. And after the policy was launched, what happened was, there was a lot of discussion. Even today, the national education policy always makes headlines. You can just go and search in Google News, just type NEP 2020 and schools. And then you see how many news items come into the search results. It's like a hot topic. every now and then something is coming up in this. So after the policy was launched, one of the major releases was this National Curriculum Framework for School Education. How many of you have gone through the policy document, and how many of you have gone through the curriculum framework? You can please share your responses in the chat. It will be nice to know how familiar are you with this document and this school curriculum framework. To give you the gist of what the policy is talking about, in school education, it has got all these sections and subsections. Okay, the first part is early childhood care and education, which is to do with the foundational learning, foundational literacy and numeracy. These are the core areas which concerns the early, like say the LKG, UKG up to first class and all that. Then the other concern is to curtail dropout rates, reduce the dropout rates, and ensure universal access to education at all levels. The policy, in fact, is also talking about, not only just reducing the dropout rates, but also making learning meaningful so that the students actually get interested in it. And one more thing here before I proceed, I would like to tell you to keep in mind is that I'm sure you're all representing different places, right? You're all from different states in the country. Just look back at your state, look back at your district, and see if you really need everything that is given in the current curriculum. Is there something which is very local? Is there something that can be included locally? See, all these are aspects of reducing dropout rates, making education and learning more relevant for school kids. Then curriculum and pedagogy is another important area where it's talking about why we need a holistic, integrated kind of curriculum, where you have a multidisciplinary approach to education. And then teachers, of course, they are the pillars of any educational endeavor. And here again, when we talk about teachers, it is to do with how we make them aware of the new policy, how we convince them that this is something good for everyone, and how we prepare them to get started and take initiatives. And then equitable and inclusive education, learning for all. That is, as I was saying, students who are physically physically disabled or have some kind of a learning disability, and girls who have some certain unique issues with them, or anybody who has different kind of, or maybe locally also, like say you look at tribal students, you look at students coming from a particular geography, they all have different requirements. So how do we make it equitable and inclusive for them? Then efficient resourcing and effective governance through the schools and clusters and complexes, and standard setting and accreditation of school education. So I'm going to pick up 3 or 4 areas here which is directly falling under your your power and your I would say jurisdiction of implementing things, and I'll take you through them. Yeah, I don't see any chat responses and points. Can you please start sharing whatever you know about the policy?
Ma'am, there are responses in the chat box. If you can
Yes.
see, yeah, people are sharing about it. The question you have asked, they have shared their thoughts.
Okay, so I'll take a look at it a little later then. Yeah, sorry. Before we proceed, another important area about the policy is that, this entire thing about vocational education. If you have seen the document, I'm sure you know that, the policy is talking about vocational education in a very big way. Okay, as in why there should be vocationalization of school education, why certain vocational subjects are needed. If you ask me what is the most important differentiator in this policy compared to all the other developments which happened in India, this is the first time after independence we are making a strong case to include skills and vocational subjects. So that is the crux of the matter here. And CC implementation. Aware about CC? You mean early childhood and care? I'm familiar with school. Okay. I follow Finland model. Do we have infrastructure? Yeah, that's what we are going to look at. I'm glad somebody has pointed out about infrastructure. See, it is, the question is good. Do we have infrastructure? Okay, but it is not like, do we have infrastructure? It is more like, how do we, make sure that we have that infrastructure? Because the objective of this webinar is to somehow understand that there are a lot of possibilities which we can do and implement few good things from the policy together. Okay, so let me just take you through the highlights. I'm sharing my screen again. Does this
Yeah,
give?
yeah, it's visible. It's visible.
So just to quickly give you the gist of it, creating awareness uh, about one's roles and responsibilities is very, very important. It is coming up in the policy in the backdrop of the fact that the world is changing very fast, especially post COVID. There are so many changes and technology is disrupting every aspect of life. So how does one look at education today? That's the most important point. And the second important point is to imbibe a sense of Indianness in education through probably Indian culture, history, Indian pushing for Indian languages, mother tongue education, and many other things, and learning more about our own country and whatever has been the culture and heritage of our country. And then also among the students, the policy seeks to instill the kind of knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes that promotes a kind of commitment to human rights, sustainable living, global well-being, and become global citizens. So this entire thing about being global citizens is also connected with the 3 E's, that is employability, employment, and entrepreneurship. Okay. In today's world, you cannot look at education in isolation, because till now what we have been doing is education, right from school to college to even more higher education, was becoming like a goal in itself. Okay, without any kind of clarity, people just go on. Okay, after 10th, you do 12th or you do intermediate, then probably most of them will try for engineering or any other such exams and then get into that particular discipline, or do a degree program and then do something else after that. An engineering student is not happy, so does an MBA after that. Or those who are coming from financially, socioeconomically challenging backgrounds, if they drop out, then they don't know what to do most of the time, right? Because of various reasons. And if they do very well, then do they get the kind of support they need? We are not sure, right? It is like a lot of challenges and hard work for them also to go up in the ladder. So this entire, like I showed you in the beginning, the entire concept of climbing ladder is not something that is encouraged here. Here the objective of education is to increase employability right from, let's say, 14-year onwards, 14, 16, 17, 18, from ninth class onwards. Then help them with employment after they, because plus 18 plus, they have every right to seek a job. And then entrepreneurship, if students want to start on their own, encourage them. So, and then how do we encourage all this, with the competencies that these students are acquiring, formal and informal learning. So if you look at these things, on the one side, the employment, employability and entrepreneurship, and on the other side, you look at the competencies, this is actually directly proportional to the kind of competencies they acquire through formal and informal education or learning. So the principle of the policy is, as I just told you already, it is to, instill a lot of these good qualities, and which has already been there in earlier policies also. But compared to the earlier policies today, because of the change in the kind of world we live in, there are many more skills and many more kind of interventions that are needed to make the students do well in their lives. And then curtailing dropout rates, the policy is also talking about how enrollment can be increased. The GER, that is gross enrollment ratio, should be increased. And also there should be an effort for providing this very holistic education that includes vocational education from, let's say, from the primary, upper primary kind of a level onwards. So what is, now we just discussed the kind of education which is rather, in a way, little bit futuristic if we look at it, because in India today we are still following some things which were laid down by the colonial, the British rule time of things, right? There are many things, I think, which we are carrying forward. In there is something like a legacy which is left behind. We are still not able to get out of it. Okay, the kind of education, the kind of competitive exams, the kind of things that are happening to our children, rote learning, not encouraging them to, be their own selves, the pressure which comes from parents and family and society. So the policy is kind of telling us, hey, look, now you just keep that aside and look at futuristic learning, future of learning and education. So what is your view of future education and learning? You can share your views in the chat as I take you through some of the focus areas. Uh, there are a lot of focus areas, but as I said, we need not look at all of them. But there are few which are very crucial at the school level, and we can quickly look at those areas. One is the early childhood care and education, where the policy is talking about a restructuring. I'll just show you the restructuring. And foundational literacy and numeracy. These are prerequisites because the data shows that students are not able to read. They are very poor in mathematics at a very young age. When they should be picking up, let us say after 7 or 8 years, if they should be knowing a little bit of addition or anything in maths, students are not able to do it. Reading, they are very poor. Reading in mother tongue also, it's not possible. So, based on such information and data, all these suggestions and recommendations have come in. And curtailing dropout rates, and curriculum and pedagogy should be holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. This, I had just mentioned this. Now for this, what needs to be done? What needs to be done is this. A restructuring of the curriculum and pedagogy in the new design. That is the new structure of 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. I'll just show you the structure. Then holistic development of learners. Then the curriculum and the syllabus, which is there, in the form of books or the examination pattern, the system, the burden which it creates for the teachers and the students has to be reduced, so that there is more of personalized learning, explorative learning, and critical thinking, and experiential learning. Empower students through flexibility in course choices. Okay, they should be given more choices. Multilingualism, uh, encourage mother tongue and other languages. And curricular integration of essential subject skills and capacities. So these could be new subjects which are coming in. These could be subjects which never existed earlier. These could be subjects which are pertaining to a location in the country. Then national textbooks with local content and flavor. Then transforming assessments for student development and support for gifted students with special talent. So these are some of the areas. And then equitable and inclusive education, and efficient resourcing and effective governance. So here is very important point again. I will again go into the depth of it a little later. How, for example, the physical and the digital infrastructure, not just the governance and the administration part, but also how they can be a collaborative endeavor from schools in terms of getting into a cluster mode of operations and other things. Okay, let me just quickly look at the points you are sharing in the chat. Okay, most of the students not able to read in English. I need some financial support to modify. Okay, Mr. Sudarshan. Yeah, it would be nice if you can talk to Vartana on this about implementing the Finnish model in India. Um, how do the boards maintain equity in public examinations? Equity, I think, is more at the level of bringing them up to a certain level and giving them options. Okay, but it is not like, you can't discriminate students at the examination level, right? You will be giving them opportunities, different kind of opportunities to appear for a certain exam. So one set of students might need more of help, more of some kind of assistance, more of support, and one kind of student might need less. So it is that kind of a support which the policy is talking about. But at the level of writing the board exam, I'm sure the board exam will not change, right? The exam, but the preparation for the exam and the opportunities will definitely be needed in a different way. We need to look at them in a different way. Employability, entrepreneurship, yes, an overhaul of mindset, yes. Capability is future, potential, while competency, okay, is proven past. Yeah, capability development and capability building. Future of education is my core area. Okay, is twofold: ability to connect the dots and use common sense. Okay, I really like all your points and about the future of education. And let us now.
Ma'am, few people also have raised their hand actually.
Okay, I'll come back to the questions little later. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so as I could see from the chat, from the points you shared, we all have a dream about future of education. Like one of you is talking about implementing the Finnish model in India. I'm sure you found something really good which will help us, and you want to adapt that into our system. And also, I could see that some of you are concerned about employability and connecting the dots and building on the capability of students. So based on all these things, if you go ahead and interpret the policy document, I'm sure you will find some areas where you would want to take it forward and see how that can make a change in your school. Because as I could see your profiles, you're all leading in your school, or even if you're a teacher, you can be the person who is the change maker or the champion or the ambassador for that change. So you can always carry forward this message. Because before I proceed with these 8 points, I need to tell you that, let us not look at any policy as something which is revolutionary or bringing a revolution. Nothing brings a revolution. Okay, we are talking about transformation and change management, which is evolutionary. Okay, I'm sure you know these two, right? The kind of difference that brings in. The moment you say it is evolutionary, it gives you a totally different interpretation. A revolution is not something like, okay, rapidly overnight in 1 week or 10 days, nothing is going to happen. And nor are we going to do anything like that. If somebody is expecting that the policy is giving me some points, I will implement them in 1 month or 1 year, it is just not the way it works. So it is evolutionary, where the changes get implemented bit by bit in small ways, in an incremental manner, and they all accumulate to bring in that big change. So basically, as leaders of your own institutions, as school leaders, you are all actually change makers also. And you're also taking the responsibility for transforming. So it is an exercise for you in change management also. So you need to kind of quickly get the skills that are needed as a change leader, change maker, and manage the change that you want to implement in your institution. So what does the policy actually mean at the implementation level? It means these things at the implementation level. So what is implementation here? Implementation, the way we see it, is execution, putting it in practice. It is very nice to say, okay, do this, don't do this, do this, and don't do this. But how do I actually do it at my level, in my institution, in my school? The identity of my school is like this, my school profile is this. I cater to a certain set of students who come from a certain background. Okay, the students are, they have these facilities, they don't have these facilities. So the profiling of the students, the profiling of their background, the profiling of their parents, and then the profiling of the past students, that's also very important. So you see here, uh, when you implement, it implies that the changes will be, you need to understand the changes in the social and economic environment, where I already told you about the employability, employment, and entrepreneurship angle of education, which is very, very important right now. And if you look at World Economic Forum, go to the website and browse and see, they talk about education 4.0 and other things. Then you understand what is education and how globally we all are becoming global citizens, and the children need to get exposed to this. So it's not like physically I go to some other country, it's not like that. But sitting in Hyderabad or sitting in Mumbai or sitting in Nagpur or any place, I am able to access the whole world. That is the kind of thing. Then if you look at the economic environment, the kind of jobs that used to get created are getting changed today. I'm sure all of you know the job market today is very different. Every day we read about jobs being taken away by artificial intelligence, or some technology is taking away jobs. And there is a kind of flux, there is a kind of tension and stress. It's not like the jobs will always remain the same. So are we preparing the students for the jobs which don't exist? That's a question. And holistic development and mobility, very important for students. Holistic as in multidisciplinary. If somebody is good at sports or arts, or something like performing arts, theater, maybe some other things, and then encouraging them to do that, and reward and recognize that. And mobility, like for example, like I told you in the beginning, one of the biggest problems is students who drop out, students who are not able to continue. How do we give them chances to go up? Okay, which is not there at present. It is very difficult. They get branded as dropouts. They are into many issues. So holistic development and mobility, mainstreaming vocational education, as I just told you. Vocational education is training and education which prepares students for a certain job role. It is different from technical education. Technical education is very generic. It doesn't actually prepare for any job role. It is a generic kind of thing, whereas vocation is job specific. Then continuous professional development of teachers, very, very essential, because as I told you earlier, teachers are the pillars of any change. And we cannot imagine doing anything without empowering them, without keeping them on the kind of a level at which they need to drive these initiatives. Then digital technology adoption, another important area, where you will have to see how today, in the wake of things like content accessibility on YouTube, through mobile phones, and the kind of attention span of students compared to what it was, let's say, 10 years ago. Today, students don't have a lot of attention span, right? Most of them just don't want to spend hours and hours together like earlier it used to be. Whereas the curriculum, the education system is still insisting on that. So we need to break it somewhere. Today, there is a lot of distraction for students. Now, there are two ways to look at it. Technology has a lot of good points, and technology also has some negatives. If we have to adopt the good points of technology and embed them in the school curriculum, then there are ways and means of doing it. Inclusive education, I think I discussed this earlier also, making it inclusive for all categories of students and giving them opportunities to do well. Career awareness and counseling, which is missing in many schools, because this has to be driven at an early age. And access to multi-skill courses, and STEM subjects and 21st century skills. somewhere this has to be embedded or included in the school curriculum. So this is like the essence of the policy, which we put up in 8 important points. There are many more, but these are some things which are directly related to you as a school leader. Now let's look at how we can go ahead with this. But before that, I would like you to list down the challenges. This is a small, tiny activity. List down the challenges in student engagement and how we can address them. So you can look at it from the infrastructure, transport, facilities in school, teachers, etc. Are these posing any challenges in your school? Please use the chat window to list down your responses. Yeah, I could see that Dr. Padmini, Durga, Ms. Durga, and Mr. Kishore have something to say. So, Girija, how do we take these points
Okay,
forward?
let me do that for me.
Yeah, you can either do it now or you can decide. I mean, I leave it to you.
Oh, I will just unmute them. They can speak now.
Yeah, let me just, I'm just going through the points again, Girija. I'm so happy to see everybody is participating and sharing their points. Yeah, what about teachers training? Okay, there are many irrelevant points also, comments, which I'm not going to look at. That is not in the purview of this presentation. The policy cannot do anything about it. So whatever is relevant is what I'm picking up here. So please understand that this is the forum for us to look at the policy and see what can be implemented. If you put in some very generic points like what to be done, what is to be done with Google, or some punishment being given to students, that doesn't come in the purview of this webinar. Okay, here we are discussing about how to improve the schooling system and implement the policy and look at it. So and me, I will not have solutions for that. Whereas if you change the way you're looking at education, I'm sure you will find some problems. And I think each one of us should be able to focus at the should be able to have that kind of focus where we are looking at some new proposals in the policy which are very good for us to implement in the school, in the for institutional development, for social development, for the development of teachers, and of course for overall development of the student. Okay, so with that spirit, I'm just continuing. So one of the points was, which I picked up is to, there is a vision to make education socially meaningful and aspirational. Okay, when we talk about this, what it means to say is that one important thing is bringing the vocational and the academic streams closer. So till now, the vocational stream was limited to ITIs or technical training institutions, whereas with the new policy, there is a proposal to introduce vocational subjects right from 6th, 7th, and 8th standard onwards. Okay, at least exposure to vocational kind of exercise, so that the hierarchy between these two domains gets wiped out. Otherwise, now the way we look at it is that vocational subjects are inferior to academic subjects. Actually, that is not true. In fact, there are students who have done vocational subjects and they are doing very well in their life. There are many examples like that. And bring in the multidisciplinarity and holistic education where science, arts, humanities, everything students should be able to experience. And that is what is one of the suggestions. And regarding the restructuring of the school curriculum, this is how from the previous academic structure, this is the new structure which has been proposed, which is known as 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So in case you are bringing in any change, then you will have to look at this structure and think of the change you are bringing under these these blocks. There are 4 blocks here, as you can see. Any change in the curriculum, in subjects, or in the kind of teaching that happens, the pedagogy you follow, or the kind of training you give to your teachers, you can look at it under these blocks. And then the other important point is reimagine the vocational education and sensitization for building the competencies. So again, why I'm using this point once again is the policy is talking in a great deal about introducing vocational subjects and making students work ready in some way. Okay, at least they should get introduced to the world of work, what kind of jobs are available, so that they don't get a shock after a few years that their education did not make any sense for them to find some ways or means of earning a livelihood. So this is something which keeps coming in the policy again and again. And there is a need to reimagine vocational education, and I'll share a few examples about that in the next part of my presentation. And school internships and skill appreciation. This is again another important point which has been proposed with the help of 10 bagless days. Okay, why the government is proposing 10 bagless days is because when you give the students to come to school without the kind of typical things they carry, the books and the stationery and all that, and just come to school with a different mind, it helps them get into a very different mindset and explore the kind of learning that can happen, at the workplace. One of them is at the workplace, or understand the kind of skills that are available around, their school. This is a very, very important implementation idea, which is there in the policy. And I'll give you the resources before closing this session. I'll give you the resources. You can go and check them there. So the implementation of 10 bagless days is already in progress. Many schools are doing this. So this can be many things. You can take up educational tours, field visits, visits to the workplaces around, or the factory, the industry, exposing to, let's say, if it is a rural area, agriculture or any industry that is there in the rural areas, or the local community, getting introduced to kind of people who work for us or who work with us, artisans, craftspeople. So many things can be done with this 10 bagless days in a year. Then comes the professional development of teachers. So the fourth important point which we picked up is the continuous professional development of teachers, not only in the regular stream, academic stream, but also for the vocational part. Okay, how do we do this? How do you make sure that the students, the teachers undergo this kind of continuous professional development for a certain number of hours, and how the school can be a little more flexible and bring the opportunities for the teachers, and then the teachers can then get introduced to the new kind of pedagogy, the competency based learning model which we are talking about. Okay, experiential learning, immersive learning, and how, let's say, for example, to make it holistic, how can sports or some other kind of art forms get integrated in the school? All these are implementation ideas. Okay, we are talking only about implementation. And for the principals and the school leaders, it is essential that the school leaders also undergo management skills and leadership skills programs. Because as a leader today, the environment has changed so much that you need to get exposed to these things. And also anything specific in education management in the current kind of a socio-economic situation, especially when India has so many initiatives which are coming up post NEP 2020. That's very critical. Digital technology adoption. Now, what is it that the school can do? Are you going to create some content? Let's say the teachers can create it themselves and put it in some repository. Or are you going to use portals like Diksha, which is from the government of India? Are you going to use some YouTube videos? Or what is the way? Or because during COVID, I could see that there were so many institutions which were very successfully using tools like WhatsApp to conduct their classrooms. So you see, when there is a requirement like that, like we say, necessity is the mother of invention. It was like that. We were able to invent new things then. We were very innovative. So either we do that, or we try to look for some way where technology can be adopted. To some extent, this means digital infrastructure investment. Now, what is your budget? Does the school have that kind of budget? If you don't have, how are you going to create that budget? Now, if that is also not possible, is there a way you can join some other schools and pool that amount and create something like a cluster of schools are going to access something? There is a need for innovative thinking. This is again implementation of NEP. How do we do this? When you start thinking about how, there are many options which come in. So basically, we need to go back, like as school leaders, you need to go back, sit with your teachers and others, and if possible, involve few parents also, and then get on to these discussions. So NEP is just a catalyst, okay? It is only a triggering point. Today, with NEP or without NEP, these changes are very much essential everywhere. All changes are essential. Just because the policy is saying, we are discussing, otherwise also we need to make these changes. So it is for you to do that brainstorming and go ahead. Then inclusive education, as we just discussed, fostering the capabilities of every student. Like I saw it in the chat also, some of you were talking about it. Okay, today if you look at the kind of landscape, educational and learning landscape, just look at the students, even the rural areas or semi-urban areas, or even students coming from economically challenged families, they all have access to technology in some form or the other. In most cases, the families don't mind spending on a good mobile phone, and they don't mind sharing the mobile phone and being connected. And most of them, if you see, they use their phone to watch maybe YouTube videos or watch some entertainment stuff, news, this, that. See, we need to see where these people are using such technologies. And from there, we need to move them into education. For instance, like what we say, from entertainment to edutainment. Okay. The whole thing is like a marketing thing. Okay. When students are able to watch some videos, watch YouTube and sit and laugh and crack a joke or something like that, why not they use the same technology to have some fun-based learning, which can complement your curriculum? This is what NEP is saying. And this becomes inclusive also for students who have certain disabilities. Maybe students who cannot probably, who are visually impaired, probably they have to listen, okay, to the lessons. And you can try using artificial intelligence tools. Today, you have so many AI tools to, give you the audio version of the book, right? So there are like, I mean, the world has changed a lot in that way post COVID, where the technology is growing so fast that none of this will become a bottleneck for you. So it can be accessible, let's say in braille or anything, but there is also, you can explore other things. Okay, you can explore how audiobooks can be created. You can create a very creative kind of learning experiences for inclusive education. Now, career awareness and counseling is another important area where the policy is talking about how you can go ahead and implement new ideas in your curriculum. One is career awareness, because the policy is repeatedly talking about connecting education with work, introducing students to the world of work, helping them make a transition to the world of work. And the world of work, which is nothing but the jobs or the companies or the wherever institutions or organizations where these students will go and work, okay, after whatever level of education they attain or acquire. How is it different? How is it going to be for them? So gradual preparation, gradual sensitization to the world of work is very important. So here comes career awareness and counseling. There are apps, there could be some free apps also, or I know there are few apps also which give you this kind of like playful way of discovering what is one's interest. The student can discover his or her interest by playing some games and things like that, and know, okay, I'm interested in this kind of thing, or I'm not interested in this. So with this, what happens? You are implementing the idea of that holistic education, which will bring out the best in the student. Maybe they are naturally talented. Today, what is happening with the same kind of curriculum everywhere to everyone? You are losing out on the natural talent of the students. And all these things actually are there in other countries. If you look at, for example, curriculum in US or in Australia or in Singapore, many colleges, many schools and colleges do this every day. It's just that in India, this kind of thing is limited to very few schools. In India also, we have schools which have curriculum like this, but they are very few. So, for instance, we are introducing them to the future, which is digital, future, which is green, where they have to think about sustainability and how to save energy, look at alternative sources of energy and other things. And believe me, these are all very interesting areas for students because they will come up with so many innovative solutions. I'm sure your students have already shown this to you whenever you gave them a chance. Now is the time for you to formalize it. Then introduce them to multi skills, like let us say the skills in different industry sectors, maybe something to do with the manufacturing or retail industry or beauty industry, or bring them to the science, technology, and maths kind of subjects. Encourage them, mostly encourage girls, and also introduce them to the 21st century skills. So when the policy is saying introduce them to multi-skill curriculum, this is one example. You can try some of these and start implementing this in your school. So before I proceed to the next part, I would like to know what are the barriers to innovation in schools. Please share only relevant responses. Irrelevant responses will not serve any purpose, because this is a very focused webinar and we are looking only at how NEP 2020 can be a game changer for your school to make it unique, and also you show to the world that you have implemented few good things from there. So please share some of the barriers which you feel exist for carrying out any innovation in schools. Now I'm reinforcing the importance of vocational subjects. So moving forward, we are looking at application oriented learning, work oriented learning. I'm just summarizing the points about the vocational part, and curriculum which is industry aligned, in the sense if there are courses, they should be aligned with a particular job role, and teacher and trainer orientation in vocational subjects, then pre-vocational curriculum also, then hands-on learning and parent orientation. For all these, I'll show you an example and I'll show you the resource where you can go and check these points. And the implications for curriculum and pedagogy are mostly, as I just showed you, integrating technology, integrating e-learning, blended learning into your day-to-day learning. So one example could be, if the students are doing few things in the classroom, maybe the assignment part of it could be something very creative and interesting, which is done through, let's say, a video or something which they can create and share. And right, today many schools are also introducing subjects like coding, because with artificial intelligence and other technology, data science and others taking over, coding is becoming a very important basic subject like language learning. So that's another opportunity here. Practical work, projects, hands-on exposure, supplementing textbooks with current knowledge, whatever is happening, like anything that is very current, very useful. Localization of the curriculum, I already told you this, where you belong. Let's say if you look at the example of Northeast India, the states in Northeast India have a very different kind of geography, a very different kind of challenges, which are unique to their states. So you cannot force them to adopt a curriculum which is working in Southern India. Maybe they can bring in some changes which are connected to their community, because some of them are tribals. They have a huge, rich legacy. Maybe they can introduce those tribal kind of, curriculum, whatever they do, their way of life, how they can earn a living, how they can, enable a livelihood through that. So this opportunity is also given in the new education policy. So to summarize this part, where I just spoke to you about the infrastructure and the kind of requirements which the policy is talking about at the curriculum, at the content level and the capacity level, I just thought I'll share these 4 important points, which is coming from World Economic Forum. Again, if you want to go deep dive and pick up 4 areas from the 8 areas, it would be these 4 areas: foundational literacy and numeracy, teachers capacity building, school to work transition, and connecting the unconnected. Basically, it means there are many things which are happening in our education system, but they are not connected. Like there are a lot of schools who are doing a lot of innovative work, and there are schools which already have been implementing the ideas which are now coming in the policy, but nobody is aware of it. So we need to connect, we need to build a community, and we need to kind of bring visibility to these people. So these are again put up in 5 levels by World Economic Forum, which is the curriculum, the content, the capacity, community, and the digital. Okay, now let me go through this part where we are talking about the actual implementation. Okay, on the ground, what do you do? If you like few ideas, let us say you want to implement bagless days, or you want to make the curriculum holistic, or you want to bring current topics in the curriculum, or you want to bring technology into the curriculum, or you want to introduce your teachers to some new programs, because they are the ones who will kind of lead and drive these initiatives. For all these, we have to first look at how ready are we? Are you ready to take up these 5 areas? First one, perception, awareness, mindset. This requires a lot of work, groundwork for you. Before you say, I'm implementing something, I'm putting this in practice, try to create awareness. Try to create awareness about what is the change, why this change is needed, why are we talking about it? Because people will not accept any change unless they are convinced about it. For example, parents. If you go back and say that from next academic year, you are going to introduce 3 vocational subjects in your school, then see the reaction of the parents. If you just do that, I'm sure the reaction will not be very encouraging. Whereas gradually, from February onwards, you try to create that awareness. Maybe in your parent-teacher meetings and other things, or whatever occasions you have, or your school annual day, or any such thing, try to create awareness. Tell them about the changing world of work. Tell them about how technology is changing things, why we need to change, right? So I'm just giving you very few examples here. There are loads of things which can be done. The second one is capacity building and curriculum development. How ready are you? So are your teachers ready to take up these programs? Have you identified something for the teachers? And how is the curriculum going to change? If you're following a prescribed syllabus and curriculum, how can you change few things? Will it impact the exam system? Will it impact the board exams? Or till when can you make the changes? Maybe up to 9th class you can make the changes because 10th has a board, right? So 8th and 9th you can make the changes. You may have some flexibility. So that's another readiness assessment. Third readiness assessment is investing in digital and physical infrastructure. Today, any change will mean 2 things. One is digital, like purchasing few things, okay, investing in technology, like it could be buying something virtual, or I mean, there are a lot of things. You might have to just do a kind of a survey and analysis and check. Physical infrastructure is also important because we are talking about inclusive equity kind of things. Let's assume that you want to encourage more and more physically disabled students to come to your school, okay, or give them some special kind of arrangement, make some special arrangement. So you might have to change probably the entrance, or put up a lift in your building, or do something which is physically meaningful for those students, right? So physical infrastructure, maybe you want to create a lab, Maybe you want to put up some, 3 or 4 new rooms or something. There could be many things where the students can, practice something. So physical and digital, this is another readiness. Readiness assessment is so essential that you go back and then you take up these points, 5 points, and sit and analyze, where am I on this? Am I at the beginner level, or am I at the middle level, or where am I? Or I'm totally ready. Then you can look at all the 5 areas. Okay, I'm ready in 1, 2, and 3, but 4 and 5 I'm not ready. So this is how you start implementing it. Then you understand the big picture. How many people in your school understand what is happening around us? The economy is changing, jobs are changing, government initiatives are coming up. All these things is the big picture. Then the fifth one is innovative and path-breaking collaborations. Today, it's very difficult to implement things alone as a single institution. It is always good to see how you can leverage each other's strengths by exploring partnerships with other schools in the surrounding areas, or whichever way you feel like. And collaboratively, you start innovating, you start investing. That is also a wonderful opportunity to get started. Another important point for you to know about in implementation is the National Skills Qualification Framework, which is being proposed by the Government of India. Okay, this qualification framework will help you bring in the skills in the academic curriculum. And you need to go and check what this framework is all about. And this is tied up with the National Credit Framework. The government is also proposing the credit system from the school level. Basically, the credit system is like, for every 15 hours of learning, the student gets 1 credit. Or for every 30 hours of practical activity, the student gets 1 credit. And overall, they have to accumulate 40 credits. And then, it should be like 1200 hours of learning. So all these numbers are given. You can just go and check what it amounts to. And then these credits will get accumulated with the student in the academic bank of credits. And if they drop out, these credits will still be meaningful. Even if they are 9th fail, for example, or 10th fail or 9th pass or whatever, if they have something like 40 credits or 60 credits, they can use it to go up. That is the mobility. So this is the implementation idea when it comes to integration of skills. Now, before I take you through the websites, some of the important websites, I just wanted to show you a sample of the curriculum from the CBSE website, where they have introduced the vocational subjects or the job-oriented learning kind of subjects. So you can go to their website and check. Number of hours is given, duration is given, and then there is a lot of there is also the textbooks are also available for few of these. This is from the CBSE website. Just a second, I need to Girija, I need to show those resources before you start with the Q&A. Okay.
Yeah, you can switch the video. Yes.
Yeah. Are you able to see?
Yes,
I
yes.
can't see my screen. Yeah. I'll look at the points which are shared in the chat and any hand raises after this part. So let me quickly show you. You need to go through these websites. I have already shared the links with Girija. Okay, so there are a lot of documents which are being released by the Government of India after the education policy was launched in 2020. So there is curriculum framework. There is also, like, see, for example, there are school level curriculum framework. There are teaching materials. And then the foundational level curriculum framework is also there. And mandate document for curriculum framework. All these are available. And there are other supporting documents. And then you also have, yeah. So you can see that NEP is not just one document. Government has, because this is all about informing you about various initiatives from the government, it is important that you spend some time on these sites and check out. Just showing you one more framework which was released is the National Credit Framework. And this framework is again because of NEP. See, NEP is just one overall, it's like a overall picture of what educational changes we desire to see. Now, how do you implement? For implementation, all these are supporting initiatives from the government. Curriculum framework is one. I just showed you. Credit framework is another one. I gave you an example just now about the credit framework. So if you go through this document and see, one way to quickly go through the document is go and search, like for example, what I do. So I go and I quickly go and search, okay, what is this school thing? Okay, where is the school level information coming up? Okay, I get an idea at least, no? Because I get to see something pertaining to schools. So this is something you can do for the first round to understand. So, and then I was talking a lot about vocational because that is like a huge, big difference, and it is absolutely important for our country to venture into these things. Now, for that, you can come to the PSS CIVE website, which is a part of NCERT. So here you have this bagless days. Um, you have the document about implementing bagless days, and you have guidelines for the continuous professional development of teachers from the vocational point of view, and guidelines for on the job training for students. This is all school level. So this is one resource. And then NSQF, I just showed you National Skills Qualification Framework. This is from the government organization called NCVET, National Council for Vocational Education and Training. Now with NEP, what is happening in our country is that we are trying to bring in the skills angle and the knowledge angle closer. Till now, they were like two separate entities. And if you also look at it, the Ministry of Skill Development and the Ministry of Education, they work very closely today. So this is the result of that. Okay, so NCVET has given you this NSQF, which is National Skills Qualification Framework, which works very closely with this credit framework. Okay, there are levels identified, and each level is mapped to a certain fifth class or seventh class or whatever in the academic curriculum. This is the details about NSQF, the document. Okay. Then this is this is one more resource I found in the Ministry of Education, where you have the Department of School Education and Literacy. They are talking about various school education schemes and what is the plan for implementing NEP. So this is one more link. And then I don't know if you have heard about, there's one more I wanted to show you before that. I think I missed something. There is this PM Shri schools. Have you heard about that? Yeah, so this is, the PM Shri school, which was, this initiative is mainly for, just a second. Yeah, this is the one. So the PM Shri schools were launched mainly because the government wanted to show that there is a special focus on implementing NEP at the school level. So if you look at this PM Shri school initiatives, then you will see what are the initiatives that are taking place from the government of India, mainly from the point of view of implementing the national education policy. This might give you some ideas. And under this, various types of schools are covered. Then there is this new initiative called Prerana, which was launched just 5 days back. This is giving an opportunity for higher secondary students to get into experiential learning, through some kind of an immersive program. This was just launched last week only. Okay, so you see, this is again a part of the national education policy, where we are talking about experiential and immersive learning for students. So you see, it gives you reference to the policy here, and here you have the reference to the policy. So these are all some of the initiatives from the government, in addition to the Diksha portal, which gives you access to a lot of learning material, which is digital learning material. I'm sure most of you are aware of this. So together with all this, I just thought I'll give you a glimpse of what all things are happening from the government. Yeah. Yes. So yeah. So now if you go back here, you can see that, this is the NSQF level, fifth class, eighth class. They're all mapped to 8 levels. And if you go to the NCVET website, this will make more sense for you. Okay. You will be able to understand this. In case you're already aware, that's fine. So this is the main presentation from me, Girija. I think you can take over, but I will definitely look at the questions and the points.
Yeah, ma'am. Look at some questions, and three people has raised their hand as well. So I will give permission to them to speak.
So will you continue, or you want me to just look at all
Ma'am,
these?
just there are three people who raised their hand. I'm giving permission to them
Please
to
do.
speak. It's
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So we have Durga who has. I have given you permission, so ma'am. I have Durga, so ma'am. I have given you permission to speak. You have to unmute yourself. You can see that option on your screen. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, actually, I'm going through the comments and I see very important ones like digital should not just benefit the school, but poor children. Yeah, see, that is what I was saying, right? It is inclusive. There has to be equity. These are the two important words where we are looking at, digital technology investments also. Okay, and as I told you, in terms of language and things, you need to explore. See, basically, I want to repeat this any number of times. A policy is not a document of rules and regulations, nor does it give you any practical points. It is just giving you few important guidelines and ideas so that we all brainstorm and implement. Okay, yeah, please go ahead, whoever is speaking.
Yeah, so I have Durga ma'ams are having some problems, so are not able to speak. So I have given permission to G Nut Chair. I have given you permission to speak. You have to unmute yourself. G Nut Charya. I have given you permission to speak. You have to unmute yourself. You can see that option on your screen. Unmute yourself and please speak. Okay. Kishore sir, I have given you permission to speak. Please unmute yourself. You can see that option on the left.
हाँ मैम बोलिए.
Hello. Yes. We
हाँ
can
बोलिए.
hear you, sir. सर आपने हैंड रेस किया था अपना?
सर, आप कुछ बोलना चाह रहे थे? आप कुछ बताना चाह रहे थे? आपका कोई पॉइंट्स है जो हमको डिस्कस करना चाहिए अभी?
हाँ मैम, वो अपने कंपनी का है ना,
हाँ.
तो मैंने गए साल भी मेरे तरफ से बहुत डॉक्यूमेंट लेके गए लोन के लिए. हाँ, स्कूल डेवलप करने के लिए मैंने दिए थे उनको. तो
सॉरी
हेलो.
टू इंटरप्ट यू. ये अगर आपको वेबिनार से रिलेटेड कोई भी क्वेश्चंस हैं तो आप पूछ सकते हैं. ये जो पॉलिसीज और इससे इश्यूज है वो हम जो है वो ऑफलाइन ले सकते हैं, और प्लीज आप अपना फीडबैक फॉर्म में जो भी है आप रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं. थैंक यू.
Yeah, this discussion is focused on the policy, helping you understand and see if you can implement a few of the ideas from the policy, the guidelines and the kind of frameworks that are there to make your school stand out from other schools. So if there's anything outside the scope, we will not be able to discuss. So please, let's make this discussion meaningful through such points.
Yes, I have given permission to Noor ma'am. If you have anything to share, you can speak.
She was saying, I need to ask doubt. Yes, please ask your doubt, ma'am.
No, ma'am, I have given permission to speak. You have to unmute yourself. You can see that option on your screen.
Yeah, please ask your doubt regarding implementation. Digital methods. Can you explain the digital methods to teaching which is useful to students? Okay. How did you manage during the time of COVID when we were looking for technology enabled learning? Right. I would like to, this is a comment which came from Naga. So it is very simple. The response to this is very simple. I'm sure you know how to use the kind of technology that is available to us. See, there are three things here, three or four things. One is you need to be clear, okay, what content is suitable for digital learning. Okay, am I using it like additional supplemental content, or am I making my main content to be available in the digital format? And is my teacher prepared to use any digital format, like say for example using Zoom presentation as a live classroom, right? So there are things like that which you need to first check. Okay, is my teacher prepared to do this? And secondly, as I said, the kind of content you want to. And third and most important is, for example, let's say you want to purchase something. Do you have enough budget for this? And another important point is, now if you want your students to access that digital content, are the students equipped with the devices? Can they access it on a simple smart mobile phone? Can they access it on their, say some computer, some kind of a basic computer? Or what is the requirement there? So you need to figure out these 4 or 5 important points, and then decide that for my school, for my subject, this is the best way to include some form of digital learning. Okay, I try to explain in some basic way right now. Naga, if you have more doubts and all, please get back to me.
Okay. Ma'am, we have one more question on this. What is the planning of government to train the teachers before implementing NEP in the school of every board?
Yes. What is the planning of government to train teachers? See, I don't think there is a planning of government as such. Yeah, see, from the government, whatever I explained till now, it is not like government has come up with a very big plan. There are many initiatives happening. You need to go and check from the Diksha portal, for example, and for the vocational I showed you. Those are the plans which the government of India through NCRT has decided. That teachers in the vocational segment can go through all the kind of courses and programs that they have created. So I don't think there is any such very high level plan, but at the college level, the government has some initiative called Malaviya Mission, which is for the college lecturers. At the school level, you just have to check websites like this PM Shri I showed you now. And then of course, in the Diksha portal, you have few things and just track from there. If I get to know something which is other than this, I will definitely update you through Girija. AI is a hot topic. Does it impact? Of course, it impacts on everybody's career, including the teacher's career. See, these technologies should be taken up very positively. And as I was saying, government has a complete initiative on artificial intelligence, and you will be able to see that information if you just go and check, Government of India and AI. If you type, there is a website which comes up, and there are a lot of programs. Okay, there are initiatives like Bhashini, which is a translation tool. Now for the teacher's career, will it impact? It will impact to the extent that the teacher has to start making use of these technologies. It doesn't mean that the teacher will become redundant. No, the teacher has to become very smart and decide how certain technologies can be used, including artificial intelligence. And if the teacher can give some part of the work to artificial intelligence, like say everybody is talking about chat GPT for lesson planning or chat GPT for this or that, if that way the teacher can start making use of tools like chat GPT, it is definitely a positive change. Because chat GPT is nothing but it is like an advanced form of a search engine, right? Instead of giving keywords, instead of giving words, you're giving prompts and you're getting responses. But remember, ChatGPT or AI is only as powerful as our wisdom, human wisdom. It cannot be smarter than us. Okay, so teacher's role might change, but the career will only get enriched. Okay, but for this, the teacher has to take technology smartly, and the school also has to create that environment for the teacher to learn or adapt to these technologies very positively. I see another comment here from Noor saying they want to implement in primary, secondary, but difficulties. See, for this is a very generic question and it is outside the scope of the webinar. Maybe you can reach out to us to Girija by listing out what are the difficulties you have faced. And we can have a separate, I can respond or we can have a call on this. What do you say, Girija?
Yeah, ma'am, or we can have another webinar on that follow-up webinar where
We can take it up as a one-off case. So anybody wants to share something, please list out your problems, the kind of hurdles or the challenges you faced. Send it to Girija and then we can take it forward. Because without knowing what are the challenges, it will be difficult for me to answer. And it is not like, everything can be answered also. You won't get all the answers. We have to explore together what could be the best way to handle a situation. See, all these are situational issues. There is no universal answer because NEP is also saying that every school, every setup is quite unique. Right? Every child is unique, as we say. Similarly, the institutions are also quite unique.
First of all, thank you, ma'am, for taking us to this wonderful session. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, we will be talking about the Varthana programs as well. So, Varthana has their own program called Unlock Program, and this program has the workbook which focused especially on the two core subjects, English and Maths, and these workbooks are from grade 1 to 8, and we have designed these workbooks and the books, unlock books, keeping in mind to reduce the learning gap of the students and engage them effectively at every level. So these books you can use as a remedial content as well, and not only remedial content, you can also use these books for the revisions as well. Now we are at the end of the year where we are gearing for the revisions and start preparing for the exams. So these books has all the core and key concepts. By using this, you can do the revision more effectively. Apart from that, you can also use these books for the holiday homework. So by using this book, students can learn at their home by themselves. And as we talk, like NEP is also focusing on this literacy and numeracy. These books can be very helpful for you to focus on these two, on the literacy and numeracy. So if you're using these books, it will help students to do the revision and revise all the key concepts if they have any doubt about it. It will also these books will also help you to enhance the parent engagement. That is something we all as a school we always suffer. So we have some activities which allow parent to engage with the student at their learning and it also helps teachers to provide opportunity to engage with the students more effectively. Not only at the school, it will also help teachers to engage with the students at their home, and it will also help teachers to monitor and track the student progress. So now we have seen what the program is and how it is look like. So let's move ahead and see the program elements. As I mentioned, these are the workbooks. If they are workbooks, this is very handy. It is very easily to handle and distribute. And we have designed this workbook based on 5E NCERT learning model. So this 5E learning model is to engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. And in this book, we have not only covered the current current grade learning content, but we have also covered to previous grade content as well. So it will help you to revise all the key concept and help you to reduce the learning gap. And this program, this book also have this in-depth instructions and the guide for the teachers, so they can use this book and this program very effectively. And it has also assessment which help teachers to track and monitor students progress. And these books are available in two instructions, Hindi and English. The content will be in English, but the instruction, how you can use this book, how you can do the activities, these instructions also available in Hindi as well. Now let's move ahead and see how this book look like and what are the features. So in left hand you can see, as I mentioned before, it comes in two languages, English and Maths. Here you can see how it will look like, and in right hand right hand side you can see how this book we have made and how it looks like. So we have the curriculum we have mapped to the NCRT. So all the topics we have covered which are mapped to the NCRT curriculum. And as I mentioned before, we have developed this book based on the 5E learning model. So you can see here, this is how the 5E learning model look like. And we have also supplementary videos which can help a student to understand more and understand the topic more if they want to explore more about it. Let me take you quickly through this book, how this book look like. So this is how unlock books look like. You can see that this is for 5th grade. And it has the student name, sexual roll number, school name, and it has the message from the teachers and parents. It has what is the unique point this book has, like it is a map to the NCRT, and every chapter is focused on a specific learning objectives. And it has the fun family activities. It has the message for the students to motivate them to use this book, and it has the instructions for them so they can use this book by themselves or more effectively. And as I mentioned, we have the supplementary videos as well. So it has the instruction for that, how teachers, students, and parent can scan and go to these videos. And you can see the table of content here. It has all the topics we have covered in this book. And you can see after every three topics we have this family activities. As I mentioned, these books will help you to enhance the parent engagement as well. So we have the activities after three topics. Okay, so it is the first chapter, which is on the part of speech. So this is, as I mentioned before, as we have built this book on the 5E learning model. So this book, every topic will start with some activity, engagement activity, which will increase their interest in the student about that topic. Then we have the explore activity, which will help a student to think more, explore about the topic, and generate the interest to know more about the topic. And once the student has this interest, then we have the explain section, where we will be where the book will talk about the topic. As you can see, it's a part of the speech. We have covered all noun, verbs, and we have given the example as well. So through this, student can know more about the topic. And as I mentioned before, we have the supplementary videos as well. Here, at the end of the explanation part, we have the supplementary videos. Student can scan and go through these supplementary videos. And then we have the elaborate part. Once the student have understood about the topic, it's time for them to practice and see how and reflect how much they are able to understand. And if something is not there, something is with, they can again go back to the explain section. So we have the worksheet which can help them to do the practice. And at the end, we have this evaluate section. Here teachers can check the understanding of the student, how much students has able to how much students are able to learn from it. If they need any kind of support, teachers can provide based on. So this is how the books look like. So if you are interested in this book, if you want to take this book, so at the end of the webinar, I will be sharing a feedback form with all of you. Please fill that feedback form so you can get your book. So I would like to share and add one point here as well. So I'm happy to share that Varthana is providing these books free of cost. So school doesn't have to pay anything for that. So if you're interested, please share your interest and capture your interest in the feedback form. Let's move ahead and see another Varthana program. So we have two academic partners with us. So one is the LEAD. So LEAD is integrated innovative tech-based learning solution. They help in develop curriculum, teaching methods. They have their books and they have the other material which can help you to enhance the learning outcome. And apart from that, we have one more academic solution partner, that is Kian. So Kian is the it's a multimedia computer. If you're looking and thinking to build smart infrastructure, smart class infrastructure, this can be one of the good option for you. So it has the DVD player, TV tuner, audio system, data projector. So if you want to know more about it, if you are interested of any of these programs, please reach out to us on this email ID, hello@varthana.com, and you can also contact on us this given number.